You're going to pick up a section of hair right here on the top and divide it into 3 strands and start braiding like normal. We're only going to be adding hair in on this left side, which is what makes it a lace braid. So we're going to pick up some hair and add it in. And then on this bottom piece, this time, we're going to pull a little tiny section off and let it fall down. And that's what creates the feathering effect. So we're going to keep adding hair in on this left side. And each time we get to this right strand, we're going to let some hair fall, feather a piece off before we cross it up and over. And when I get to about there, I'm going to just let it turn into a regular 3-strand braid. But you can continue to feather it if you'd like to go all the way down. It's up to your personal preference. And secure it with an elastic at the end. Okay, now you're gonna go back to the front, and I'm going to take the little feather pieces and just lift them up and out of the way. And if you want, at this point, you can grab some dry wax too and just spray those pieces. That'll help just keep those separated from the rest of the hair a little bit better. Flip them over. Now I'm going to pick up a section of hair right here. The only thing you need to remember about the waterfalls, before I forget to tell you, is just make sure you have an even amount, because we're going to be crossing in pairs. So I'm going to start a 3-stitch section again, and we're going to do a lace braid again, adding in only from the left. So we're going to go up here, take piece number 1 and let it drop down, then take piece number 2 and add it in. And you'll see why in just a second. So complete that stitch. And when you go to pick up this time, reach back under and grab that piece number 1. And create another stitch. Again, I'm going to pick up 3 and just let it fall. Take piece number 4 and add it in to the braid. Create a full stitch and then go back and grab piece number 3 and add it in. And I'm only doing that because I want that 1 and 3 strands to cross underneath. I like the way they look underneath a little bit better. So I'm gonna go skip a strand. So 4 is already fallen down, or number 5, and we're gonna add number 6 in. Do a stitch, then reach underneath again, grab number 5, add it in, and continue on like that. Get to the end, just complete it like a normal braid and secure it with an elastic. And there you have the lattice braid. And here's our final spin. All the fun lattice crisscrosses along the back. Okay, now I've started this braid by just parting our hair slightly off center, but if you prefer and you don't want a distinguishable part, you can just take a brush and comb it all going back. We're gonna flip her around. And in the very back, right by the crown of her head, I'm going to pick up a section of hair. And this is what is going to be our 2-piece twist down the center of the entire braid. We're going to take this and divide it into 2 pieces. And we're going to cross the right strand over the left just once, and then hold it. Now we're going to go to the left side of her head, and I'm going to pick up a little section of hair. And I'm going to put it over that left section so it falls right through the middle. You can see I just dropped it right through the middle right there. And then I'm going to take these 2 strands, the original 2 we had, and just give them one more twist. And just know that when you're twisting, the right piece is always going to be twisting over the left, all the way down. So we're going to go back to this right side now, pick up a section of hair, and comb any little bumps out of it so it lays nice and pretty and flat. And I'm going to, again, cross it over that right twist piece and right through the middle. And then I'm going to take my pieces. So you can see that this is that middle piece. I'm going to end up letting it drop, but I don't want to let it drop right now or it'll loosen the braid up a little. So these are my twist pieces. I'm going to take that right strand again and cross it over the left and then drop the piece so that I still maintain like the tightness of the braid right there. I don't want it too tight, but I do want it to not be loose. Okay, so I'm picking up some more hair on the left side, and we're just going to repeat these same steps over and over and over. So again, I'm putting it over my left twist piece and letting it drop through the middle. You can see it's right there, it's gonna drop. I'm taking my 2 twist pieces and I'm crossing the right one over the left. And then I'm gonna hang on to them. I'm gonna go back to this side and pick up more hair. We're gonna just continue this on just the same exact way. When you get down here to the bottom, you can kind of feel those sections that you've already used before. They're a little bit separated off. So now I'm just grabbing each of those sections from around back and bringing them back over the twist again as we go down. And still continuing just the same technique of laying it in the middle and then twisting those 2 pieces over the top. So you can see, this is a similar effect to like a waterfall twist, where you're just putting a twist in front and in back of each section of the braid. So you can see this piece is coming around. I'm just taking that twist piece over the top and crossing it again and then dropping it. And I'm just gonna keep going as far down as I can before I run out of hair. Now, when I run out of hair, I just gather all of the pieces up together and secure the whole thing with an elastic down at the bottom. And then I go back, and if there's anything I want to loosen up to make it softer, make both sides look even, then you can just go back and tweak it a little bit like this. And voila, you have this really fun, it's almost like a cross between a waterfall braid and a mermaid braid, but because it has the fall of a mermaid braid, but then you can see all the way down you have this really cool stranding, this twist that goes all the way down the length of the braid. Okay, let's do the final spin. So pretty. Look, I'm going to pick up a section right at the top of her crown, right here. You want this to be a pretty good size section. You don't want it to be too small, because this is ultimately the hair you end up using for the remainder of the hairstyle. When you get that section the way you want it, divide it in half. Just 2 flat out even pieces. There you go. Now I'm going to go to this right side right here on her head. I'm going to pick up a small piece in the front of her head. You can see I didn't drag it all the way back because I don't want this piece to be too big or it gets crazy when you're braiding farther along. So just a small piece. I'm going to take it under first, that first section, and then you can see I'm crossing it over the top of section 2. So now I have the piece right here. Now I'm going to go to this left side of her head and again pick up a small section right here. Pull it back, and I'm merging it right into that piece that I just weaved through her hair. So I combine those 2, take them back under section 1 and over section 2. And we're gonna do it again. So pick up a small section here on the side, add it right into the same piece we're weaving through. Now you can see this is why it becomes an infinity braid, because you're just using the same hairs over and over and over and repeating the stitches. So I go under, creating a bump, and then over, hold this hair out of the way, go back over to this side, pick up another small section of hair, add it into our weaving piece, take it under, and then back over. And we're just going to keep doing this all the way down the braid. When you get to this point, you can choose whether to keep doing an infinity braid till you run out of the ends of her hair, or you can switch over and do a regular braid or a fishtail, anything you really want here. So, if you were gonna do an infinity braid, you can just keep wrapping it like you were, but the problem is you're gonna start having these ends popping out. So what I kind of like to do is really just start like a fishtail, which looks nice and fun. So just take a piece of hair, wrap it around the back, and then another piece, wrap it to the other side, and work your way through a fishtail, transitioning to that. When you're all finished, secure it with an elastic, and then you guys know me, and I love to pancake. So here's the tight version, everything's nice and tight. Then you can just go back, pull, and fluff. You can actually even do this all the way up through the braid. Just give it a tug, make it nice and full. Let's do the final spin. Cute, cute. Hope you guys like it like I do. Now don't forget to check out Millennial Moms. Again, you can find the link in the description box or in the eye right here. Don't forget to give us a thumbs up and subscribe, and we'll see you guys next week. Bye, you guys.
Bye.
Look at her. She's beautiful.
She looks like Brookie.
Yeah. Look at her.
Oh, there she is. She looks like the twins.
She does.
Let's go over and see your mom.
You want to go see mommy?
Yeah. Hey, sweetie.
Can you give her a kiss? Give her a kiss. Oh.
Now to begin this quick, easy hairstyle, you're going to go right by the temple and pick up a section of hair. And we're going to use that to create our first braid. Now I don't want to go clear up to the part line. I just want to make it right here by the temple. I'm going to do a normal 3-strand braid back. Now you can secure this with an elastic, or you can just have somebody hold it if you're doing it on somebody else. Then repeat the same process on the opposite side. After your 2 braids are completed, just pull them around to the back and secure them together right here on the back of the head. Okay, when you have the 2 braids hooked together and secured with an elastic, I'm just gonna reach up and smooth down the bumps in the hair there. I'm going to take this braid and just set it on the top of her head for a second. And then I'm going to pull the rest of her hair back into a loose ponytail. And at this point, if you'd like, you can use a little bit of spray wax or water, whatever you feel like you need for your texture, your particular curl. Sweep all this back into a loose ponytail at the nape of her neck. You can see that it's not tight against her head. Now, I'm going to take this, make a hole, and simply flip it through. We just did a little flippy flip. I'm gonna let the braid go, bring this back down because we want these to show more. So we're gonna feed this through that hole now. So it looks like we flipped the braids in there when we really didn't. Tighten this up. Now I'm going to strategically pick, right here, I'm just gonna pull and loosen and soften right here. I want this to look like a soft flip. I don't want it to be too harsh. So I'm just loosening a little bit here and there where I want it. Leave the braid sitting on the top, and you're good to go. Now right here, you could cover this with hair if you wanted to, wrap this elastic with hair so that you can't see it, like this, and secure a little bobby pin, and we'll just hide that little piece of hair. And let's do the final spin. Such a great hairstyle when you're rushing off to work in the morning or out the door to school. That's what we're gonna do. So to begin on this braid, you have to do a little bit of parting. On this one, I have taken it and about right over the top of her eyebrow, kind of like right here, I've taken and done a part line all the way down to the nape of her neck. Then I moved over about 2 inches, so about the top of her next eyebrow, and did the exact same thing. So what you have is 2 pigtails, one on either side of her head, and then about a 2-inch section in the middle of her head that we're leaving loose. So we're gonna take this section and we're gonna begin our braid. So to grab that, please. Now, it's up to you at this point whether you do an innie braid or, so a Dutch braid or a French braid, either one, innie or outie. I'm going to do a Dutch braid because I want it to pop just a little bit more. So I'm gonna just do a really tight, like small pieces Dutch braid all the way down. And this is going to become, on the tuxedo, kind of like, you know how the old tuxedos had like the ruffles they used to wear underneath this is what we want it to look like. When you run out of hair at this point, instead of finishing it off with a braid, what I want to do is just secure it with an elastic right here at the nape of the neck, because we're gonna want these loose ends. Now I'm gonna go ahead and pancake it because I really want these pieces to stand out from underneath the braid. Up a little bit more. So you can see the difference after I've pulled those edges tip way back. So you're going from a small braid to a really big puffy braid, which I just think adds to the effect of kind of the ruffles peeking out when we're all finished. When you get to this point, you're gonna go ahead and let the rest of the hair down. We want it to just kind of fall naturally. And her hair has just a tiny bit of, I can see just a little bit of static in it. So I'm just gonna spray a really light hairspray. You could do a little tiny bit of finishing wax too, just to kind of help control those flyaways as we go along. I'm gonna take a section right to the side of the braid, up kind of by the crown of her head, on both sides. And I really want them smooth out, so make sure you get them nice and smooth. And you're gonna kind of figure out where your placement is gonna be. I want it to land right about here. So I don't wanna pull it too tight or it's gonna end up too high. I want it a relaxed in my hand so that the hair hangs a little. Now I'm gonna divide off a little section off each side, and that's gonna become our third strand. So now we have 3 strands for our braid. You see that? 1, 2, and 3. And we're gonna begin a normal French braid. So I'm just gonna be picking up pieces of hair and adding them in, crossing them over. Add in here. And this is where you want a relaxed hand. This is hard for me because I love tight braids, but you want a really relaxed, loose hand so that these pieces fall through each other very softly. We want a mermaid braid effect here. Okay, you can see as I'm going along how loose this is. It's very relaxed in my hand, and I'm just still continuing to add in hair from either side. Now I'm starting to pick up those underneath hairs where before I was mostly working with the top hair. And I'm even lifting it up off of her neck just a little bit. That way when I let it go, it's gonna settle in really pretty. Because you see how my hand is up a little bit lifted off her neck. That's the effect we want, so we're kind of doing that. And I like to go back and just even tug on this just a little bit more to loosen it up so that this really stands out, that there's a difference between this braid and the bottom braid. This is why I think it looks like a tuxedo, is because it kind of looks like the ruffle that a tuxedo has right here in the front, and then the jacket where it crosses over and starts laying over the top of those ruffles. And we're finished. Let's go ahead and do the final spin. This style has almost a warrior princess kind of tough feel to it. So when we start, I started by parting right down the center of her hair. This has like a little bit edgier feel to it whenever you part the hair directly in the middle. So I really wanted to do that. And then I'm going to start by picking up a section right here. And I'm going to be doing a Dutch lace braid. So I'm only going to be adding hair in on the right. And what you'll see is that I'm almost pulling the hair over the part line as I go along to over direct the hair across her head. I really want that braid to lay right next to the part line. I don't want any space between the part and the braid. And in order to achieve that, you kind of almost have to pull it over the actual part line just slightly. So we're gonna go along and add in pieces. You can see by my hands that I'm almost on top of the part line the whole time. Keep adding in pieces. And if you have flyaways, like Brooklyn, don't panic because you can always use some dry wax or some hairspray when you're done to help those lay a little flatter. Or you can always style this with wet hair if you're going straight to an athletic event or something like that. When I get down to the bottom, I'm just gonna take it to a regular braid. But before I go too far, what I wanna do is pull the pieces on the inside edge. So only the pieces on the inside edge are going to get pancaked. Then we're gonna secure it with an elastic and repeat on the other side. Now on this side, I'm gonna do the exact same thing, but I'm gonna be over directing across the part line this way to make sure that it lays flat. Okay, you can see before I start pancaking that you literally almost can't even see a separation of the part line. We've done it so close together. Now when I get here again, I'm going to go ahead and pancake again the inside edge of this one. And this should almost put the two braids on top of each other with just this little pancaking. Okay, now this would look like a cool braid just by itself, but we're gonna take it up one notch. Now, because it's a lace braid, you can see this side should be loose because we didn't attach any hairs there, and this side as well. So what we're gonna do is lift the two edges of this braid, like this, kind of push them together, take a bobby pin, and just we're gonna reach underneath and grab one side of each of the braids. Like grab a little bit of hair from both sides. Push that bobby pin in there to hold the braids together. So we wanna kind of just reach in and push, and grab our bobby pin, take it in there, make sure you get both sides of the braid, and secure it. When you get to the end, you can just take one elastic out and secure them both together. And then I just like to go back and re-pancake where I want to, just make sure that the overemphasized, the scaliness of the braid is what we're looking for. And there you go. So let's do the final spin. Here we go. So dun 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 dun, you can see the dragon scale look all the way down the braid. Okay, now I really wanted to do this as a high ponytail version, but I have seen people do it as like two French braids or that kind of thing, so you can definitely play with this style. I'm gonna start by dividing the hair roughly in half, and you want a top to bottom divide. So just, you know, kind of, it doesn't have to be exact, but just kind of feel it until it feels like, you know, I've got about half and half, right about there. And then we're going to just start a very basic pull through. Now we have another video on the very traditional pull through method, and you can click the box right by Camry's head if you want to watch that video. We're going to take this top piece, and this is the only thing different from a traditional pull through. I'm going to just take a little section right off the top, and I'm going to hold that out. I'm going to lay it up on top. Then I'm going to take the elastic, go down a couple inches, put the elastic in, divide the hair in half, so there's a little hole through it, and reach in and pull the rest of that hair forward, just like that. And then you can tighten this up if you want. I don't want it too tight, because in the end I want to pancake mine. Now again, I'm going to take my comb and just divide off a little section right here on the top. It doesn't have to be a huge section. And lay it forward, gather up that top piece, secure it all with an elastic, create my hole in the hair, and pull the bottom piece through. And we're just going to continue that repetitive pattern all the way down the hair. Okay, so when we're all done, what you have is this beautiful feather braid, and it just has pieces hanging down like this. You're gonna go back up to the top, and you're gonna divide this top section into 3. And you can do it into 2 if you wanna do a fishtail, but I'm just gonna do a braid. And I do 1 or 2 stitches at the top, just normal. Then that brings you down to where this next piece meshes in. So you're gonna pick up a little on the left and add it in, then pick up some on the right and add it in, and then do 1 or 2 stitches again. And that brings you down to your next section. So add some more in on the left, add a little more in on the right. And go ahead and continue some stuck right there. A couple more stitches. Add some in on the left. Add a little in on the right. And add some on the left. And what you're doing by doing it this way is creating it where it's like attached to the braid underneath. So there will be no movement like throughout the day of the braid slipping and sliding. There's no need for bobby pins or anything like that, which is awesome. They're just all nice and attached. And secure the whole thing together with another elastic. And you can see that I have like another inch of hair that looks flat, so I'm just gonna reach back, give those outside edges a tug, and it'll match just the rest of the braid. You can go back and fluff anything you don't feel like is even. Make it look all nice. You can even go back and pull and tug the stack part a little bit if you'd like to loosen that braid up a smidge. And you're all finished. Okay, let's do a final spin on this lovely